Welcome back to the channel, everyone, in this week's episode of Retro Movie Review Theater. In 1986, Savage Steve Holland, and no, his real name is not Savage, he's just known by that in Hollywood, wrote and directed one of the decade's more unique summer comedies, and one that has grown to cult status, the John Cusack and Demi Moore-led ensemble film, One Crazy Summer. Now, a lot of 80s fans will point to the first film that Cusack and Holland did together, Better Off Dead, as the superior one, and they would have plenty of room to argue. But One Crazy Summer is one of those summer flicks that checks off all the 80s trope boxes. Directionalist high school graduate, well-meaning but overconfident best friend, love interest who is cast against a hot blonde as competition, the rich 80s spoiled man-child with his country club posse, a musical montage of achieving something greater in goal, the villain, a heartless, money-hungry, greedy sadist who would sell his own mother for a profit and for some reason has a fetish for inflicting harm on lobsters, a non-binding premise that will ultimately decide the fate of our protagonist, in this case, a regatta involving sailing, and let's not forget the cast of ancillary characters that help move the plot along and provide nonsensical comedy that to this day is still memorable. In the case of One Crazy Summer, it is populated with 80s mainstays Tom Villard, Billy Bird, Curtis Armstrong, Joe Flaherty, John Matuzak, Jeremy Piven in his first ever role, Mark Metcalf, and last but certainly not least, Bobcat Goldthwait. Now, before we get into the plot, let me just preface you with this. One Crazy Summer is funny, but it has a touch of, probably more than a touch of absurdity. It's a comedy not for everyone, but if you're an 80s kid, it's definitely for you. John Cusack plays Hoops McCann, and with a name like Hoops, he must be a basketball prodigy, right? Wrong. He can't hit a shot to save his life and has resigned himself to graduating from generic high school in the generic town of generic New York. Even his own mother doesn't believe he has a chance at success as an artist, gifting him with a street cleaner as a graduation gift to prepare him for the rest of his life. His best friend George Calamari invites him to spend the summer with him and his little sister Squid, along with her dog Bosco, at his grandmother's house on Nantucket Island. And bonus points for this film, it actually filmed on location in Cape Cod, so everything looks and feels just like it should. Sorry, that's just the Massachusetts boy coming out in me. Back to the plot. While on the way to catch the boat to Nantucket, and we soon find out that Hoops is afraid of boats and afraid of the water, they run into Cassandra, played by a very young Demi Moore, and she's running from a biker gang who thinks she owes them money, but in reality, she earned it to save her grandfather's house, which also acts like an old folks' home for poor people. And of course, this house is also on the island of Nantucket. During this time, we learn that Squid, who loves her dog Bosco, is more dangerous than she looks, George is more dense than we think, Cassandra is more desperate than what she seems, and Hoops is in way over his head even before getting to the island. We learn about the villain of this film from Cassandra because Akil Beckerstead is trying to pressure the bank to foreclose on her grandfather's home quickly so he can then buy it and start building his high-end real estate subdivision topped off with his own lobster restaurant. No, of course, he does not care about the people, and he does not care about where they're going to go live. Now, when we get to Nantucket, we also learn that the island is the filming location of a new horror film called The Killer Dolphin with Rabies, and that the Stork twins, Clay and Egg, played by Villard and Goldthwait, are employees on set, along with helping run a mechanic shop. We then meet Beckerstead's son, Teddy, who is instantly recognizable as a complete douchebag, and Cookie, his trophy girlfriend. And look, at no point are you ever going to cheer for either Cookie or Teddy. They have no redeeming qualities whatsoever, and reveling in any misery that may come their way is always welcome in this film. Now, Teddy is abusive to everyone around him, physically and verbally, and takes an instant dislike to Hoops, who accidentally touches his Ferrari when Teddy hit him with it. We meet Granny, who is not as nice and sweet as we might think, charging her guests for dinner and ignoring George completely in favor of Squid. And then my favorite character of the whole ensemble comes on screen, Uncle Frank. He's got problems. He spends his days in a dank, smoke-filled room listening to the radio with his hand over the telephone because he has been obsessed for years with trying to win the call-in contest that will see him receive $1 million from the radio station. Now, he may not have a ton of screen time, but he has some of the most memorable scenes throughout the whole film. We soon learn that Cassandra's grandfather dies. She needs to take singing gigs at dive bars to earn money to hopefully pay for the back mortgage. Cookie starts to pursue Hoops in a weird romantic game to get attention from Teddy. We meet Ak, played by Curtis Armstrong. And by the way, ACK are the call letters for Nantucket's airport. Fun fact, doesn't have anything to do with the film, but now you know. And he is being kicked out of the house by his old man because he is unwilling to join the Marines. Now, his father is currently in charge of a military surplus store and is a Boy Scout leader who believes in preparing the children for all-out war instead of merit badges for swimming and hiking. Cassandra and Hoops begin to fall for each other. Hoops lets her down. She gets mad. He uses his artistic talent to win her back and help get her the money to pay for her grandfather's mortgage, thereby saving the futures of all the elderly with no place to live. And yes, that is Demi Moore singing Don't Look Back in the movie. But Beckerstead has already bought the mortgage and foreclosed, forcing Cassandra out. The only solution? Buy a new house? Get a lawyer? No. They decide that the best course of action would be to enter a sailing race with a subpar boat, win it, and trade the trophy for the house because the trophy is what keeps Grandpa Beckerstead happy, and he has all the money. I'm not kidding. This is the script, and you go with it because it's funny. Cue the montage for fixing the boat. They name Hoops captain. He refuses because, remember, he's afraid of boats and he's afraid of water. There's an easy solution to this. Cassandra seduces him on the boat, and there you go. His phobia is cured. Before the race, Teddy brings his Ferrari in for a tune-up to the mechanic shop where the Stork twins work. He bloodies Clay's nose, which immediately enrages Egg. They close the garage, and all you hear is a chainsaw. End of scene. The boat race begins. There is cheating. There is outright attempted murder. And in the end, Hoops needs to make an impossible shot on a 20-foot mast through a 6-inch hole with a steel ball to fix the sails. And of course, he does. The dolphin with rabies gives them assist along with Squid. However, Teddy is winning the regatta when time comes to turn on the engines, but don't worry, Hoops and friends have an engine of their own. They cut out the engine from Teddy's Ferrari and attach it to their boat, and they easily win the race. Teddy's grandfather sees what's been going on and in typical 80s fashion decides that the best investment is not real estate, but friendship. That's it. Happy ending. Film over. But I forgot one thing, the cute and fuzzy bunnies. Throughout the film, including the opening, Hoops illustrates his search for love, which is always sabotaged by the cute and fuzzy bunnies, because looks are deceiving. Holland's first film, Better Off Dead, was panned by famous movie critics Siskel and Ebert, so of course the two cute and fuzzy bunnies who get destroyed by machine gun fire are supposed to resemble those two. Hey, they hated movie critics back then as much as they do now. Believe me, I've got the comments to prove it. And all of the illustration was done by the director himself. Look, there are stupid films that are stupid because the comedy does not work, and there are stupid films that work because they know they are stupid, and the ridiculousness lands for most of the punchlines. This is one of the latter. This is not Citizen Kane. This is not Saving Private Ryan. This is a silly, goofy, at times over the top, at times tongue-in-cheek, but always in good spirits 80s comedy that sometimes gets lost in the plethora of 80s summer comedy films. But it has a heart to it. You root for Hoops throughout the film, you understand his dilemma, and you understand his dim outlook on his pending future. And one review I once saw thought that this film made fun of people with learning disabilities due to the inclusion of the Stork twins. So just a heads up to those who don't know, Bobcat, that's how he talked in the 80s. That was his act. So settle down. The Stork twins are not a commentary on the mentally disabled. And besides, this is a Generation X film, and Gen X does not care about your feelings either way. Now, I would say that this is a film that you watch, laugh at, and forget about after, but I have not forgotten about this film since I saw it in theaters in 1986. So it has a lasting impression because it is, viewing it today, filled with 80s nostalgia, music, fashion, technology, the way it felt to be on one side of the economical divide in Reagan's America. But all of that is nothing compared to this. One Crazy Summer is just a fun film that wants to make you laugh and takes some risks and gets way more right than they get wrong. And no, it did not perform well at the box office, raking in $13 million on a budget of $9 million, number 62 overall for the year of 1986. It was competing that summer with Back to School, Crocodile Dundee, Top Gun, The Golden Child, and on a head-to-head basis on the same weekend release date, Stand By Me. Yeah, this comedy got lost in the shuffle, just a testament to how great 80s movies really were. But now it's a cult classic, a film that did okay at the box office, but found a solid group of support amongst a small group of fans, me being one of them. And to think, I actually scheduled myself to review Stand By Me this week and changed my mind last minute. Karma, I guess. So, if you want to laugh for about 90 minutes at a film that has nothing in store for you but a genuine urge to entertain you, One Crazy Summer is a surefire bet. And that's what I think. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Have you seen this film? And what classic 80s comedy do you think is underrated? As well, if you want more pop culture fun, check out my retro movie review playlist and my general movie review playlist by clicking on the links in the description. And if you did like this video, I'd appreciate it if you hit the like and subscribe for future content. It really helps out the channel. I thank you for watching. Remember, I'm still your reluctant Gringo, and from south of the border, salute and a huevo.